Hello, hello. Hey, Phil M. The cat is on my lap, so my posture is going to be terrible. You can see her here. Hey, that athletic smooth dog. You're the best cat. So yeah, today is a continuation of yesterday, and I think possibly the final bit in this little continuation series, maybe even this morning. Finally, finally a cat cam. Yeah, hi everybody. You also have a cat on your lap right now. Nice. If only you had a desk cat pad, then she would be on my desk, not on my lap. I mean, my posture would be better, but my legs wouldn't be as warm, and it's welcome right now. A bit for you. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go through this document. We're gonna print a bunch of stuff out. Actually, one of the things I wanted to look into first is this: how would I make a build through Godot that would let other translators update translations as they go? So we have these PO files here, and if I change one of these, well, if I change it locally, actually, maybe that's the answer. Let me see. Like, I don't want to share code. I want to have an exported build. Andrew, hey, Glasgow, hey, rough cookie. How are we doing today? I'm doing a lot better. Oh, I didn't update the today command. Adam is feeling a lot better than he was last week. Things are back on track. What else? The plan for today is to delete as much of the to-do list as possible. Then we can move on to other things. Commands of interest. Wrap up sales. Okay, cool. Ooh, thank you, Andrew, for the tier 2 sub 3 months in advance. That's quite nice of you. Yeah, so this is the goal right now, which is, yeah, how do we export a build that lets you change translations? And I could do something special for this. It could just be a flag that loads translations at the very beginning. It looks comfy and I want one. I don't know where I got this one from. I need to check it, but it is nice. Hey, Sarah. I spent exactly 1 year to make a game. Actually, yeah, that's true. We have to reset the day count at some point. Reset the day count on YouTube. I didn't even thought about that. Hey, Double Dog. Okay, so yeah, how do we do this? How do other people do this, I wonder? Yeah, this is quite the puzzle. I wasn't even thinking about this, but someone made a video about Skeleseller in Japanese, and I left a comment. I don't know how I'll find this. Actually, I know what their name is. That didn't find it? Seriously? Okay, well, anyway. Someone made a video about it in Japanese, and I left a comment using Google Translate just saying like, oh yeah, I'd like to get this in Japanese, but I don't know any Japanese translators. And this person very nicely posted on their Twitter saying like, hey, I don't know anything about this, but does anyone know a Japanese translator? And someone reached out to me over Discord, and we're talking about it right now. And one of the things that they asked about is like, how would I test my translations in the game? And I just didn't have a way to do that so far because the workflow we had before was people would fill in things on Weblate, and then I would just test it myself. And sure, I couldn't tell if the translation is good, but I could tell if any text overflowed. Hey, Cowardly Fool. So I've got to figure this out. Godot, what do we search for here? Change translations at runtime. Like we could potentially load another file. Can be added or removed during runtime. Where does it say that? Current language can also be changed at runtime. How do you do that? Parse number. What is parse number? Oh, okay. I don't think this is it. I'm not totally sure. Hey, hey, Strong. Hey, why not? Darkstorm, Smack. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling like myself again. And I don't know, it just feels like it was strange to have gone through what I did. Like, did it really happen? Has there been a sales update since the 24-hour reveal? No, no, I don't plan on making a sales update either. I've got a sales command, which hopefully will work on YouTube. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't like fully work there, but if you just click the link, it'll show you. All right, commonly used translation domain is the main one. It always exists and can be accessed with an empty string name. Do they mention anything more about this? They only have these two things here. Testing translations. You may want to test a project's translation before releasing it. Godot provides 3 ways to do this. Project settings, general, locale, test properties, set this to the locale code. We'll run the project. Okay, that's not what I need. Second, from the editor, go to the, I know about that. And then what's the third one? When running it from the command line. For example, to test a game in French, the following argument can be supplied. Okay, maybe, no, this wouldn't pull from a different file though. We need some way to change the files that are there. I guess I could write a tool to modify the PCK file. I could write a quick tool that modifies the PCK file. Oh, I don't want to like make this massively public. It's in the journal command if people want to see it, but I don't want there to be a command to just access it immediately. Because I don't really want people focusing on it, and I really shouldn't have made it a big deal. This is a lesson for me for next time. Also, this cat just fell asleep. Yeah, so this is potentially the best route, unless I can figure out a better one. And I don't think this would be that hard to do. We need to find the PCK file, unpack it, modify it, repack it, and download the updated translation from Weblate. May need to unzip this. Alternatively, I could just make instructions for this, but I don't think the PCK tool is easy to use, right? Yeah, Godot PCK Explorer. Where's that? Here. Couldn't get it working on Mac OS. Yeah. And does this let you modify things? Did I link specifically to a tag? All right, well, whatever. Explore, extract, create, patch. Yeah, patch. Okay, it would be possible. It's just probably going to be annoying. Yeah. So this is one route. Is there any easier way, I wonder? Still voting for Skeleseller on Sub Sunday? Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, it was like game number 7 or something last time. Now it's game number 8. And what I saw last time around is that as it gets closer, the top games get like way more votes. So, yeah. Maybe I should subscribe and start voting. Because I think that would be a nice boost. All right, is there any other way to do this? Loading a message file, updating message files to follow the PO template, checking validity, using context. Man. Really sad I wasn't chosen. Thank you, Puelo. Yeah. Adding the command or just make a video based on the numbers from your VOD. I see those videos a lot lately. Yeah, I just really don't want to focus on it. Like, when I look at this endeavor overall, just Skeleseller as a whole, I think still it was more passion than business. And I think that by focusing on the business aspect, like, hey, here's how many sales we got, or here's how things are doing monetarily, I think there's maybe some value in that for people who are also business minded, but it kind of undercuts it. Like, this was a creative endeavor. It was a game. I just wanted people to have fun and not to focus on like, oh, here's how much money I made. I think it makes me focus on the wrong thing, but it also kind of sends the wrong message to other game developers or even consumers. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if there's a way to do this. Load PO file at runtime. It says allows changing these at runtime. Where is this? Select CSV file. What can we download from here? There's some way to download. Yeah, okay. CSV, original translation files. Man. I don't know. I don't want to spend a terribly long time on this, but I'd like to have a way to do this. More so realistic based on trends I've seen. If it doesn't make it in the first week, highly unlikely to make the cut. Can still try, of course. It's just votes based though, right? So like, I get what you're saying, that the trend is that it won't get enough votes the second week, but it's a possible, right? It's not like there's some other, I don't know, bias. And that said, like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. What else? I mean, I could just, I don't know. Yeah. All right, let's just try some like random translation server stuff and see what we have here. Translation server dot. I mean, I already looked at these online. There's add translation. What does this take in? Adds a translation to the main translation domain. This presumably has a locale and a bunch of messages. Yeah, where's its constructor? It seems like it's something that I do not add myself, just given what this API looks like. Interesting that this is possible. Huh. To know if more updates have been made. Oh, no, it's totally fine for you to ask about this stuff. I don't fault people for asking. That's why I have commands. Yeah. And I'm glad it's been an inspiration. You know, the chances are slim, but it also depends on whether games are out. He was still invested in Crimson Desert. Rushed through those games and tried to wrap up fast. Oh, man. Yeah, that might have been actually worse then, huh? Yeah. What else do we have here? Because this could potentially help any game I make in Godot. Also, anyone else who makes a game in Godot. There's probably a need for this. Has domain, parse number, remove domain, set locale, standardize locale. Yeah, so I think the only thing I could do is add translation. Now, with that said, what is a translation? I make a new one of these and I just start calling functions on it. I guess we could just read through the whole PO file ourselves. This sounds kind of tedious, right? We'd have add message, add plural message. We'd have to do this for everything. But we need something that reads the PO file to tell us what's plural and what's not. Because like I don't want to write a parser for this. Yeah. PO file parser. There's probably not something for this. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay, let's try something else here really fast. Let's just see if there's something I'm missing. I'm gonna ask AI. So in Godot, is there some way to update the translations of an already exported game to test new strings? For example, I could unpack the .pck file. I could patch the PCK file with new translations. Is there an easier way that just uses Godot code? Load a PO file from disk and apply it. Oh wait, load will just work with a PO file? I wonder if that would actually be the case. I kind of doubt it, but who knows? Maybe it will. Because yeah, I hadn't even thought of trying that. So we just load a translation and try adding it and then set the locale. Okay, so let's do that. Translation equals resource loader dot load translation. Okay, so now where are the translations? They're in submodules, Skeleseller. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna load Spanish as though it is French, I think. Is that smart? Or maybe English as though it's French? We don't have an English file though, do we? We just have these. Okay, fine. Well, how about this? Japanese would be really obvious. All right, let's take that. Let's copy this. Okay, so I never remember if game shows up in this, but let's just search for res://game. It doesn't. It's just assets immediately, so we just delete that. So it's this. And that'll give us our PO file. Is this, yeah, it just says unused. Okay, next we get the translation server dot, what, set translation? I see add translation. There's also remove translation. I mean, let's try add and just pass it in. But this is going to know what the locale is, which I removed from the menu. Hey, Goose. Hope you're having a skeletastic day. Yeah, it's going well so far. Also, we saw Project Hail Mary last night. It was really good. I hadn't read the book, but I thought it was a very well done movie. I also realized that, man, movies have to be incredibly good for me to care about going to the movie theater. Like, I was pretty sure this one would be good. But if a movie is like a 6 out of 10, I don't think it's worth going to the theater for. It's still worth watching potentially, but just it's not worth paying a ton of money, like being in a place that's not your own. Yeah, the movie was really nice. Okay, so this will load this in. This is scenes JAJP. This must have a locale somewhere, right? Yeah, language right there. Okay, so what if we type FR? So now it'll make it think that it's French. Will this work? Because if this works, then this is going to be pretty easy. Has to be a 10 out of 10 for me to go. Yeah, and it's hard to know ahead of time if it's going to be a 10 out of 10. Like, I remember being so excited for the 4th Matrix movie, and it was terrible. All right, so if we change to French, we should see Japanese somewhere. Maybe we need to restart. I'm not certain this will work. Maybe it's parsing it from... No, yeah, I don't think it's working. Is it erroring? Maybe it's erroring? No. All right, let's put a breakpoint there and just see what's going on. I just go for the weird liquid butter. Yes, 3 ounces, please. Whole business model needs a rework. I think the one thing you get in a theater that you can't get at home is an audience full of people who are reacting to the movie at the same time, which for any movie with comedy in it, I think is pretty nice. So like, it's nice when I was watching the movie last night, people are laughing at all the jokes. They might be laughing at jokes I wouldn't normally laugh at, but I know that they're real people. It's not like the movie theater is going to plant audience members there. So that part, yeah, you can't replicate that at home. But audio quality, TV quality, like you can replicate all that stuff. Chair quality. You can get your own snacks for way cheaper. So it does think the locale is French here. I wonder what's going wrong then. Maybe I need to remove the original French translation. Remove, oh, oops, translation server. What does this pass? Oh no, it passes in a translation. Okay, so we need to do translation server dot get translation. There is no, there's only get translations, which is a collection of translations. So I need to iterate over these and find the French one. I mean, maybe this will work. Hey, Pickle. What game engine is best for a Mario Kart type racing game? So Mario Kart started as a 2D game with Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. For this, I would say probably Godot would be best. But for anything after this one, because even the N64 one was 3D, I think it all depends on how realistic you want your graphics. If you want them like super realistic, probably Unreal Engine. If you don't care about them being super realistic, then pretty much any 3D game engine. So like Unity, Godot, I think anything could be fine. But yeah, if you're making this particular game, I'd say Godot is probably pretty good for that. All right, well, who knows if what I'm doing is even correct here, but let's try it out. So for each translation, and man, I have like the tiniest bit of a headache and I don't know what it is. I got enough sleep. I've been drinking water. So I hope this does not progress. A platformer that looks like the Super Mario movie. I think the new Super Mario games all look pretty good. Like Odyssey. What was the other one? New Super Mario Brothers re-release. Whatever it was called. All right, so if it's FR, then remove it. And then, so this is like existing translation. Oops. And then add this in and then break. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing right now. FR. It could have. Which AI is currently giving you tab autocomplete? That's Copilot. Okay, so did this work? We have the translation. Is it? Okay, it might have, but everything's marked fuzzy, and I think that's the problem now. Oh my god, if this actually worked, this is kind of interesting. And I never would have thought to do this. So this is like another win for AI here, because I looked at the documentation and I'm like, oh yeah, you just can't do this. But I think you can, and I think it's just not clear how you do it. So now we need to go into scenes and change one of these to not be fuzzy. And it's got to be something on the main screen. What's on the main screen? Story mode. Okay, let's look at story mode. Where's story mode? Why is it not here? Oh, because it says play. Wait. No, what? Yeah, why is it? Oh, because it's a script thing? Maybe it's a script thing. Okay, well, is there a scene thing that's on here then? Maybe video settings? Yeah, there's video settings. Okay, let's change this to not be fuzzy and then just restart the game. And I think we're onto something here. Did it work? Did it work? Oh, it worked. Okay, great. We're in business. I need to get this cat off my lap. I'm so sorry, Abby. Will you please leave? Abby. Abby. I'm sorry. Oh, I always hate doing that. Like, I need to sit properly. Another win for ChatGPT. What a monster. Cancel this streamer. What was the problem? Fuzzy means something else to me. So, here's what the problem was. We don't have Japanese translations in the game. So a translator asked, like reached out and asked if they have a debug tool for testing translations. I don't. In order to do this, I need to reload a translation at runtime because I don't want to share the code and repo with them to like build it themselves. So what we're doing now, oh, hi again. Okay, fine. I reposition. You can sit down. She doesn't understand what my intent is. She's like, oh, you just want to shift your legs, right? Yeah, my spot. Okay, cat. Okay. Yeah, so what we're doing now is we're loading the Japanese translation as though it's French. And we had to remove the French translation. Oh, yeah, and the fuzzy thing is because anything that's marked fuzzy, Godot is going to be like, let's just use the English because this is not a finalized translation yet. Yeah. And yeah, I might try more AI for the next thing. I don't know. I'm still debating on that. She has, you probably can't see this. You can only see her ear, right? But she's resting her head on my arm. And thankfully, my left hand only needs to access this part of the keyboard, so it's kind of fine. Can I find your VS Code setup somewhere? All I have is the list of extensions that I like, that I felt were worth sharing with people. But if there's anything else you want to know, feel free to ask. I don't mind sharing. In general, what people tend to ask about is like, what are your most used shortcuts? And it's things like navigating to a file, navigating to a certain function within a file, switching tabs and things like that. And the reason why I don't just share a config is because the actual shortcut I use is not very important. Like, this is what I use to go to a file, and this is what I use to go to a function. But like, it doesn't really matter that this is what I bound mine to. What matters more is that I'm using the functions. So yeah, I still need to publish something on that because people have been asking about that. Oh, I'll probably stop using VS Code pretty soon. Probably gonna switch to Rider. Notice on your autocomplete, it said a rule kind of thing that after every curly brace, there should be an empty space. How does that work? That's a linter. That's not necessarily autocomplete. So if I don't have a space, where's a good example? Like here. Wait, no. All right, well, whatever. I'll just type a new thing. gd.print. So yeah, this is coming from this SA, which I think is like sonar analyzer. No, style cop analyzer. So yeah, this is style cop. We use some other analyzers too. All right, so now what's the best way to do this? So I've proven that this works. Now I got to find the best way to make this work. So we shouldn't be deleting French. We should just be surfacing Japanese. Which means I probably need to... Don't I have something in here about CJK languages just being ignored? I think I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, well, let's figure this out. Okay, all that's fine. That's fine. This is not fine. Figure out initial locale. If it's CJK, we return English. So, I guess if it's Japanese or if it's... No, we need some feature flag in here. That's all I can think of. Where we say, like, allow Japanese translation. And I'll just set this to true for right now. Yeah. If feature flags that allow Japanese translation and the locale is Japanese, then return Japanese. What's your machine or PC that you're working on? I'm working on a Mac, and the full specs are there. I was going to ask you yesterday, but I got on too late. What is it? What were we going to ask, Steven? Oh, message retracted. Okay. Make a full video of your hardware and software. I'll watch with pleasure. I have a stream setup thing somewhere, I think. Yeah. And then the software, like I said, is in individual videos. So like I have that VS Code video. Do you run Broadcaster? I don't know what Broadcaster is. My streaming software is OBS, which is, I think, Open Broadcaster software, but I don't know if that's what you mean by Broadcaster. All right, is there anywhere else that we use CJK stuff here? Yeah, add buttons. Here it is. All right, we got to make this a little bit more annoying. All right, so if locale is equal to Japanese and feature flags dot allow Japanese, how do I do this? This is not what I actually want. If it's Japanese and we allow Japanese, do nothing. Otherwise, continue. So I just want to invert this now. If locale is not equal to Japanese or we don't allow this. That should hopefully be correct. Let me read this again. So let's say we're in Chinese right here. The locale is not Japanese, so just continue. Same thing with Korean, but if it is Japanese, then we need to check allow Japanese translation. Okay, I think this should be fine. And now we can merge this with the outer if statement and make this super confusing. Do you run? I don't know what broadcaster is. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't the run part. Or wait, are you just asking, like, am I a runner in real life? And this has nothing to do with the word broadcaster? I don't run very frequently. I don't, yeah, I'm not totally sure. Maybe this was like a translated thing and how people in English say streamer. Yeah, referring to me as a broadcaster. Okay, I've never heard that before. Yeah. I don't run too frequently. No. Sorry, we were just talking about running programs and software, which is why I thought you were talking about software. What's your marathon PB? The farthest I've ever run in one stretch has been 15 kilometers, and I hated it. So I don't think I'm ever going to run a marathon. I know it's a joke question, but still, I just don't want to do that. Okay, so we got to delete the Japanese translation to begin with, JAJP. And then we need to load in, this is the scene file translation, and this is the script file translation, right? And now we load in those two things. Okay, I think that should do it. I think we're just good now. Walking pad, understanding desk, when? And yeah, streamer treadmill. I actually think that'd be kind of cool to do. I feel like I have enough distractions as it is, though, and I'm not sure if I'd be able to handle walking while responding to chat while coding. Okay, so I'm messing something up now. Oh yeah, that's what I'm messing up. I set this to French. You can't set this to French. It needs to be this. And then you can't have fuzzy strings here. So we only have one non-fuzzy string, right? I can just change all of these though. Yeah, let's just for the sake of testing, just delete all the fuzzies. And then same thing for scripts, JP. Fuzzy. Oh wait, we can't do that. Oh God, yeah, what am I doing? We got to search a little bit smarter for this. Yeah, I have to search for caret, pound, comma, fuzzy, $sign. And then that way we only find lines that were fuzzy and nothing else. Same thing over here. Caret, comma, fuzzy, $sign. There we go. Okay, now let's try running that. For someone who's never done localizations, what are the steps that you take? It's relatively involved. Sorry, wait, let me answer this first because Steven had typed this first and I just only saw it now. So I'm a front-end engineer and have been for like ever. If I was wanting to get into game dev on the side, what would you recommend? Just picking it up for fun? Most of my experience is in JavaScript, React, Node. Want to do a fun side project and something else. I think, look, I recommend Godot. I think it's great. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. They've never given me anything for free. I just think it's a good engine and I think it's nice to start with. But if you're coming from the JavaScript world, there are game engines like Phaser. And you might find that more fun or interesting or easy to get into. I've used this before. It's not bad or anything. I just don't think there's much of a reason to go for this when you can target a game engine that goes kind of everywhere. Pricing. When is that a thing? Want to build faster, use a visual editor and receive support. Wow, okay. Well, I don't think that was there when I was last using this. Yeah. But yeah, I think Godot is pretty good. Anyway, so yeah, for someone who's never done localizations, what steps would you take? I've got a thing that I did here, internationalization. So this note is kind of all of my knowledge on this stuff. But if you just want the brief steps, here's what it is. It is like instrument your code for localization. So instead of saying something like, button.text equals play game, this is just English, obviously. You would do something like a translate call, and maybe you'd put a context thing here. And now what could happen is Godot can pull in the correct string for this at runtime. So that's one thing, instrument your code for localization. The next thing is like get translations, of course. So this is a human part or an AI part, but this is pretty obvious, right? If you speak French, just type in French words. If you don't speak French, find someone who does, use a machine to do it. And then the other thing is it's change your source language wording to make it work with other translations. This part is non-trivial and is not obvious. So let's say you do something like this. You say something like the adventurer name is traveling to the location name. This looks fine in English and it'll never be broken pretty much. Like the rogue is traveling to the forest. But now all of a sudden you use a gendered language like French and you need to change the. So now it's either la or la based on that. And same thing here. This is la or la. And then so now what happens if you have a female adventurer traveling to a masculine location? Masculine in the form of just gendered words, not in the form of actual like gender identity. And yeah, you can't do this anymore. So you're not going to make like 14 different strings for combining just this in French, because now you'll run into another issue in a different language that does something differently too. So you've got to be aware of gender, pluralization, sometimes speaker, sometimes formality. And that's what led to these sorts of strings existing. We have hired the warrior, hired the rogue, hired the mage. When, what this used to be was just one single string that was hired the like 0 parameter. Because in English, that works fine. So that's one of the really hard parts of localization is you can't just generically change stuff. Then you need to fix up any issues that happen. So like, what if this in French were even longer and you couldn't fit the buttons on the screen anymore? So yeah, there are a lot of little nitpicky things with localization that make it kind of annoying. So do these buttons exist now? Yes. Well, would you look at that? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to find the story mode button or whatever that's called, play game or something. JAJP story mode. Here it is. And we're going to change this to hello world. And now what should happen is we should see hello world on that button. Yeah, but this doesn't actually prove anything, does it? No, it doesn't. Also, we're loading from the res folder, which you can't modify. So we need to load from some like well-known location. Maybe you pass it in at runtime. Yuck. Beta for language practice and learning. Oh, neat. English is reversed when it comes to certain sentences, so ordering matters as well. Well, ordering doesn't really matter too much in terms of what you write. So like, let's say you have an English string where you say something like the subject verbed the object. Not every language is going to work like this, but the translator can take that string and change it to whatever they want to. So it could be like object, subject, verbed the or something. And this would be fine. So, you know, language X could do this. This doesn't require any like major changes. How do you deal with things not working, like dynamic UI scaling or not fitting? The not fitting thing, you only have a couple of options. It's either make the control bigger or make the text smaller or do some like truncation, which would be really bad. So make the control bigger is pretty obvious, right? A lot of buttons will just expand to fit their contents. Like if I try closing this tab right now, you see how it says save and don't save? There's probably some language where this would be larger and then they can just expand the button. It wouldn't be a problem, right? It's just a dialog that pops up. And make the text smaller is pretty clear. There are two ways you could do that. There is either like shorten the string or there's just shrink the font. And there are places for both of these things. We shrink the font in a bunch of places in Skeleseller where there's an adventurer name and it has to fit in a certain space. But every once in a while, it's like, hey, instead of maybe the word witch doctor or witch doctor, maybe change it to shaman or something like that. It's like, yeah, does it change too much? Not really. I mean, granted, you have to change this everywhere in the code now. But yeah, so that could work too. Okay, so we can code this. I don't know if it's worth coding this or like worth finishing it up. I have a proof of concept that might be good enough for now. Yeah. Because what I would need to do is I would need to load this. Well, maybe I should just do this. I already started it. So I need to specify where this stuff exists. And if you specify this, then we pull it from that folder, I guess. Alternatively, you know what I could do? I could have this download the zip file from Weblate. Like there's no problem with that, right? What is the path to this? Copy link address. Can I just like wget this? Oh, wget is not a thing. Does git work? Remote file name has no length. So it's pulling from somewhere else. Where did it download that from? What's the actual link? All right, here's what we could probably do. You could probably open a new tab and just load up DevTools and find out where this is being pulled from. Would that work? Fail to load response data. I mean, I guess this could have been... I don't know. It'll show you the actual download link? Oh, I don't think I knew that. Wait, where do you do that? Open, show in Finder. Full download history. Oh, I don't think I ever knew that. Unfortunately, it says this is the download link, but this is not something we can get. I guess let's curl it and just see what happens. It must be a web page that does something right. Yeah. Where's the actual... There must be some JavaScript in here, right? I do see some JS files. And it could be this. So then we would need to fetch this and find out how it's downloading. Alternatively, I just have the person download the files manually, and that would be fine. And we could just point them on the disk. That's probably even better, because then you could just modify them on disk. Okay, I'll do that. So now we need a command line argument that you can specify for a path. Godot read command line arguments. I think this is just the C# way to do this, and that there's nothing special about this. Is there a permission error? I think it said that it was an error page. It did say it was an error page. So it's possible that I was just looking at something that, yeah, it was like a 403 or something like that. Well, not really a 403 if it's returning HTML, but yeah. Hey, Matt. It's still not really worth looking into. I'll just do this. So how do we do this? OS dot something, yeah, get separator for user provided arguments. Following arguments are not used by the engine, but can be read by this. Get command line user args. Okay, let's try this out. Let's go. Get command line user args. All right, how does this work? What does it return? Just a set of strings? And how does that look? Level equals 2. Or return with dash dash level equals 2. Okay, so it'll all be one string. So I want something like, first of all, what is that again? String args equals this. So I want to search this for if arg dot starts with dash dash force. What do we want to even do here? Force load translation. I'm trying to think of what I even want to do. I want to specify a path like this and then load in these files. And I guess it will know what the locale is. Actually, we should know what the locale is based on this, right? I shouldn't even do this. We just look at scene file translation.get locale. Is there no get locale? There it is. And maybe we don't even need to do this. I'm not positive about that. So we should test this. Test if this is even needed. And it's probably good to do anyway. Yeah. Okay, so this has to be a path to a folder. So const string force arg is equal to that. Force arg. Okay, so now get the... Yeah, this will work. This is not the code, though. This is the path to forced translation. Hey, Flair, we are winning. How'd you configure Copilot to not steal all your code files as in index it? I recall that's why I stopped using it. I don't know if I even did anything to that extent. Hey, Cowboy Goose. And hey, Franken. Okay, so now we want to load this. I guess just delete all this stuff. And change this. Oh man, unfortunately, we need to know what PO files you have in here. I guess we just load every PO file. And how about we start with this? If not directory, is it not directory? Yeah, directory dot exists. Yeah. I don't think I have any M files. Yeah. How's the mood compared to yesterday? I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, it's at least plus 5%. I mean, last afternoon I was feeling pretty good too. So it might not be much more than that, but like I'd say I'm at my baseline again, or at least more or less there. I think it was a combination of a few things. I think I needed sleep. I needed to ignore reviews and just kind of stop like living and breathing Skeleseller for a little bit. I see cat. Yeah, that's why I'm like in a weird position here. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna load everything from this directory for each get files that you pass in a pattern. Wow, nice. All right, so translation. So I guess first thing is bool has removed translation equals false. If not has removed translation. Good, perfect. And then add this. And then just delete all the other stuff. Wow. Okay, I think this should work. And this wasn't too hard to write. I mean, granted, it's super ugly code. I'm going to put this somewhere else, but yeah, I'll write this here. To do, move this Garbo code somewhere else. This is just for debugging for the sake of translators, so it's not like it's super important anyway, but yeah, let's go test it. So we need to first try by... How do we test this? I don't know how you specify a command line arg. Oh, no, I know how. You do it through launch.json, right? Args, there it is. Okay, so we're going to specify dash dash, whatever I said, forced load translation equals, and then it's got to be a path to something. So let's go find, let's take scripts and we'll put it in, oh wait, we need both files. So let's copy both of these. Let's put it in here. This is like fake JAJP translation. Now we open up this and change story mode to good job, Adam. That way I feel good about myself when we're done with this. Then we copy the path to this thing, paste it in there, and that should do it. Let's go try it out. It's a preferred method for managing them, especially because if I'm working on multiple projects, wouldn't want to have all the M files for my computer, on my computer. I always just put them in the project that, like in the repo of the project that I'm in. But I also only typically have like an env.development, an env.production, like that sort of thing. And I usually only have like 2 files anyway. Okay, so this is not working. Is that what it said? Loading save data, loading local settings, removing existing thing to avoid conflicts. That didn't work. Oh, because there's a break here. Wait, no, the break is fine. We'll break out of that. Then we'll get down to here and we'll try adding a translation, but no translation existed. But then how is this possible? Huh, that's strange. Yeah, let's just put a breakpoint there because I don't know how that could even happen. Do you not use any secrets manager? No, I do. It's just I'll have like, let's say, I don't know, let's say we're talking about a database connection string and there's a username and password. I'll have that in my password manager. Then I'll put it into my M file and then the M file will just live for however long I'm working on that project. If I ever work from another computer, I would pull it from my password manager again and put it in an M file. And it just lives on disk in plain text at that point. So yeah, that's all I do. All right, so we know this isn't working, but weirdly enough, this isn't even being hit, and yet somehow we're seeing removing existing. Oh, because I have more code down here. Whoops. Okay, my bad. I thought I commented all this out already. Apparently I did not, because I had it there twice and I commented out the first one. All right, now I'm expecting it to look good. No, wait, no, it still didn't print out the loaded translation thing. Oh, because it didn't go into here at all because I probably messed this part up. Okay, let's try that. Maybe we're not passing the arguments correctly. Force load translation. Let's see. This isn't being hit at all? That's unexpected. That means that I must not have done the launch thing correctly. I'm guessing this is going to be empty. Yeah, it's empty. What did I do wrong? Play. Is that what I'm running? Yeah, play. Force load translation. What? Oh, because I probably need a dash dash here. Oh my God. I'm glad I read documentation. Okay. Let's see if that works. Hey, we got it. Okay, now is it working down here? So you remove a translation, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Let's just see if it actually did something. Good job, Adam. Hey, nice. Thanks, me. Okay, cool. So we coded the thing I needed to code. And now we just need to like bundle this up and test it out. Yeah, the Eddie fight is like the greatest idea I had for this game. All right, so let's delete that stuff. Actually, should we? I don't know. I want to write some notes about this, and I want to make sure it's working and everything. Write notes about this. Oh, and then we also have to test. Do you even need to remove the old translation? You probably don't, but let's see what happens when we don't remove it. It might still work. It works here. What I'm concerned about is that, well, let's try changing bone mode and see what happens. So let's say I only had a fuzzy string in here. Bone mode. We don't have a string that says bone mode here. Okay, well, that must be in the other file because we only have 2 files. Bone mode. There it is. Okay, so we're going to change this to... We're going to change this one to be fuzzy. Fuzzy string. And then do this. So now, if we remove the old translation, we'll see plain English there. Not even saying fuzzy. It's going to say bone mode. But if we don't remove the translation, I don't know what's going to happen. And that's what I want to test. So yeah, this says bone mode. It's just plain English. Now we're not going to remove the translation. What does it say? Does it take the non-fuzzy string from the old file, or does it take the fuzzy string from the new file? It takes the non-fuzzy string from the old file. So this is why you'd want to do this. If you don't do this, you'll keep fuzzy strings from the existing translation. No, non-fuzzy strings. Non-fuzzy strings. Yeah. Good job, Adam. One of my... Yeah, I don't have a linter command. We just use some analyzers here. It's probably all in like editor config or something, right? Okay. Do you want to leave, Kato? No, you don't. You want to reposition yourself. You just want to be warmed. Hi. Yeah, so we have an editor config that changes all of these things. We probably have this in like the solution file somewhere. Where is it? Maybe it's inside the project file, not the solution file. Yeah, here. So we use the Microsoft.NET analyzers, Sonar analyzers, StyleCop analyzers. Some of these have conflicts with one another that make it kind of annoying. I need those, especially for to do. Yeah, so just one thing first of all, I use error lens to surface those immediately sometimes. So like, see how this is yellow and says complete the task associated? That's coming from error lens. The source of this comment is coming from the linter, but usually you'd have to hover over this to see it. So error lens is just putting it from here over to here. So I highly recommend error lens, and then yeah, configuring your linter something like this, which if you just take a screenshot, you can just get these 3 things. In fact, I'll just paste them in the chat. I don't know which ones are best here. I just use a bunch of them. So we've tested everything. I can delete this. I can delete this. And this. We can move this code somewhere else. Sonar's enough. I don't remember why I added both. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to write this down for the next project. Like, ask AI to set up linters so that I don't have to configure them. Yeah, so I got to export this and we got to test it one more time. And if you don't specify this at all, hopefully nothing bad happens here. Where are the notes? Launch.json. Okay, so we delete this. Actually, we could keep it in there and just comment it out. I don't think we're going to need this sort of thing. Oh, no, we check in this file. Never mind, that's kind of stupid. Just delete that. Okay, I want to export this and then make sure it's working from the exported version. So let's go do that. Export. And we need a feature flag for this too. All right. I think this is probably worth spending the time. This will help me on whatever next game I do too. Ah, yes. You can't balance yourself. Show me how you set up feature flags and how you use them in your project. That's a Godot thing. So do you see here how it says features in the background? I can't click it because we're loading right now, but oh, now I can. Okay. Features is just a list of strings. And then the way, okay. Okay. She's taking over my arm. So feature flags just checks to see, do you have that string? Show the cat. I mean, it's I can't actually use the mouse now, but yeah, here is our cat when we first got her. Is it your only one? Yeah, it's our only cat. She's resting both paws and her head on my wrist. Oh no, only one paw. But still, she looks very comfy. Just change your posture. That isn't very good for your back. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break in the next like probably 5 minutes. So I'll let her rest here for a little bit longer. Oh, hey, look at that. Someone else has a calico cat that looks pretty similar. And their name is also Adam. Wow, crazy. Second game, second cat. My wife wants to get a second cat. But, hey, Rami. But I don't know how the second cat would be with Abby. All right. Let me go find this thing. Put this here in temp. We should be able to just put this here, actually. All right, there's skeleseller.zip. We unzip it. We go into temp, fake JP translation. Then run skeleseller.app contents macOS Skeleseller. Why did that not work? There we go. Then dash dash and cat. This is so hard. Let me do this. And it should work. Nice. We did it. So if we don't specify that, okay, this is really starting to hurt now. If we don't specify that, yeah, we get the other stuff. Nice, nice, nice. Oh. Okay, cool. So yeah, all we need to do is wrap this up, and I think we're pretty good. I do need to commit this and probably publish it or something. And write Skeleseller specific notes about the force Japanese translation feature. So if I turn that off, allow Japanese translation, we set this to false, then what happens here? I think it's just going to stop it from showing this menu. Yeah, it doesn't show in the menu. So now you can't set it back to Japanese. And if your locale was Japanese to begin with, it won't load Japanese. Yeah. What are IDs? I'm going to be switching to Rider. Skeleseller. My friend sent me a message saying, now that you made Skeleseller, you should make Skeleattic next. Oh, that was pretty good. I would like to take a break. How do I get this cat off of me? Would you like to show your face, cat? Oh, okay. Why Rider? I think it is the other sensible choice. There aren't that many choices on macOS, I feel. I don't even know if Xcode would work with this, but it's kind of VS Code, or it's a virtual machine with something like Visual Studio inside, which would probably be a nightmare, or it's Rider. And I like the JetBrains products. I think they're really good. I don't have a command for it yet. Oh, yeah, I guess I could use just an editor. I don't really think of those as IDEs at this point, but yeah, I could use something else, I suppose. And I did reach out to JetBrains, and they gave me a free license So, hey, it's free for me to use. Probably way better than VS Code. I'll still use VS Code here and there. I think it's still a great text editor. I had a bunch of problems using C# with it over the years. All right, I'm gonna have to move the cat. I'm sorry, Abby. I'm so sorry. Do not use Visual Studio. Okay, cat. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. Let me kick off an ad and make sure she can't get comfortable again yet. And I'll be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello again. Close the game. Okay, so we tested this and everything. I said close the game. Yeah. We tested this. We gotta write some notes. We gotta commit this, etc. And yeah, everything looks like it's working fine. I think we'll just do it this way. This is just intended to be changed while working on Japanese translations. Intended to be manually changed while working on Japanese translations. So that we can share a build with the translator that lets them change languages, but regular players still can't use Japanese until it's finalized. Do you usually use lists and mark them as complete, Adam, or just straight up delete them? I just delete them. I used to use something called To Do Plus, which is like org mode and Emacs, and this would let me archive them. And I actually really like that. Archiving to-do items is nice because sometimes they contain context that you would want later. And another thing you can do is just make like GitHub issues or something. But then the cost of writing a to-do item is just higher. Because like, oh well, now I need to go to a website. And even with this, like I have a shortcut to go to make a new issue. Even with this, it's still like, okay, well, I gotta write a title and a description instead of just, oh, just add another bullet point and there's your, I guess, title or description. And then yeah, managing like closing them and everything. So I don't know. How do you like your follows later without that? Like yeah, how do I figure out the context? And that's why I try to make my commit messages pretty clear, so that I'll at least have whatever context I need. And sometimes knowing that the context might be important in the future, I'll file issues and then just close them or yeah, mark them fixed or something. So yeah. Okay, well, let's write this in the internationalization note. Changing fonts at runtime, yeah. So testing translation updates at runtime. Suppose you have this scenario. You want to add, I don't know, Japanese support to your game. You don't have the translation yet, so you don't want players to be able to, well, actually, I guess this is kind of pointless, right? This scenario. Suppose you have a translator for a particular language and you want them to be able to test updates that they make to the translation files without giving them access to the entire game's code. Here's what you can do. So this is where I want to go clean up this code. This can go pretty much anywhere. Yeah. We get command line args in a couple different places. This is in debug though. So how about this? We'll make like a... well, first let me copy paste this here so I don't lose it. I18N. This isn't inside the game though, is it? Oh no, we do have that. Font switcher, etc. What else is in here? It's like the hardest way to read this. Font switcher, I18N functions, notify on translation change. We could put it in here. I don't really think it belongs there. I'll just make a new static class, I think. Yeah, what do I call this though? Like runtime locale, no, runtime translation updater. Sure, whatever. Honestly, the name probably doesn't really matter. Translation updater. Okay, so now we want a private, no, public static void update translation at runtime. And that's pretty much just this code. Delete all this. Well, we need directory, I guess. Anything else is right here? No. Okay, so now this has been moved. Now we need to handle this. So handle, or like force load translation. And do that. Oh, whoops, did not mean to copy the break there. Okay, private static void force load translation string path. All right, anything else? Directory does not exist, cannot load translation. Hey, Cartelfish, where are you storing your Obsidian files? Just on my disk, and then I have sync thing to sync them to other disks. Anything else? I mean, this can go up here. translation arg. And sure, return after this. Actually, break or return doesn't matter. Why did it complain about break? Did it complain? I don't even know. Why not store them in Google Drive? Because I need Google Drive everywhere. I mean, I get that I need sync thing everywhere right now, but sync thing is just using, it's just syncing that one thing. I can eventually sync other things too. Also, it works on my phone. I'm not sure if I could point Obsidian at Google Drive on my phone. Okay, so I think this looks fine. Now what about this? Yeah, I think this looks pretty good. All right, so now we just need to call into this or else this won't work at all. So this dot update translations at runtime. So for most players, what's going to happen is this. We'll get the command line arguments. We'll go through each one. None of them will start with force load translation arg, and we'll just break out. So we have an O of N operation here, and sure, a constant time function call here, which is this in Godot? Oh, this isn't Godot. Okay, so this technically marshals as well, but it's probably pretty minor. We could also check to see if this is a debug build. Maybe I should only allow this on debug builds. But then I need to do two different things here. Is there anything else about a debug build that might cause a problem? Because we use this in a lot of different places. I don't think so. Yeah, all right, how about this? Allow Japanese translation is going to be set to is debug. So now this is bogus. This is so that our Japanese translator can update strings without regular players being able to even see that Japanese is in the game before it's been finalized. Okay, and then we'll just do this. We'll put it here. If not feature flags dot is debug, then return. Okay, there we go. I think that's probably pretty reasonable. So let's go try it one more time. So I'm on a debug build. You have any more thoughts about the next game being done in GDScript? No, I'm going to use C#. Yeah. I think now that I'm aware of what caused problems, I think it should be better. I also think this next game will hopefully be less susceptible to those sorts of problems. Like one of the problems with Skeleseller is it is one game world. There are no levels that you could be like, well, let's unload the last thing and load the new thing. And there are windows for battles, which made things a little bit more complex too. So one of the problems we ran into is like, okay, I'd like to have pooled floating text nodes. So whenever you see like +5 damage or something, or healing or poison or something like that, that's a floating text node. It floats up, it fades away, we're done. To pool these inside of battle windows, the structure that we have is there's a battle window, and then somewhere in here, I mean, there are battlers, there's the environment, and then there's the floating text nodes. When you close the battle window, it frees it, which then frees all the floating text, which means if you pooled them, you needed to be aware that they could be freed at any time. And it just like really complicated the object pooling logic, and I didn't think it looked clean. And we could have just pooled battle windows and reused those too, but anyway, it's kind of annoying. I think in the next game, we probably won't have that issue. So we'll have to see how that works. You sync your notes from Obsidian to your phone with that? Yeah, so I have it running on my phone, my mini PC, my Chromebook, and this computer. So if I make a change anywhere, they all talk to each other and they'll figure it out. But since the mini PC is always on, that means that they always have a sync point. Yeah, I did a video on... No, I did a video on Obsidian, not on Sync Thing. I was going to say I could give you more information, but I can't. Well, not like that, at least. All right, so I ran this, and what do we see? We can change to Japanese, and we get this string here. If I want, I could change launch.json to do this. And now it should say, good job, Adam. Yeah, nice. And thank you. Okay, cool. Pretty happy with that. All right, so let's go find that thing. Translation runtime updater. Okay, so suppose you have a translator for a part or a particular language. You want them to be able to test updates that they make to the translation files without giving them access to the entire game's code. Godot lets you remove, and I guess I should say add/remove translations at runtime pretty easily. Here's some hastily written code that I used for Skeleseller. Call this at startup somewhere. It requires that you launched your game like this. Path to game executable dash path to folder containing .po files. Yeah, like that. You'll have a cake. Talk about what kind of game you're gonna do next, if we're gonna next game at all. No, the only thing I have is this so far as a command. Yeah. Shouldn't it be wrapped in quotation marks? No, it doesn't need to be. Only if there's a space in the path. Okay, yeah, this looks pretty good. Yeah, I think this will help people in the future too. Anyone who stumbles on my notes should benefit from that. So the only other thing we have to do is this now. Well, and check in. So do we have some sort of like localization markdown file somewhere? I probably wrote something. I know Kevin wrote something originally, and then I changed it a lot. How do we find it? Input handling, shaders, fonts. I mean, it definitely need to be in a .md file. We only have so many of those. CD game ff type md. Any of these have to do with localization? IET9. There we go. Okay, so testing new translations without rebuilding the game. So export a debug build for the translator and have them specify this at startup dash like that. Path to folder with PO files. And then they may need to select their language and restart the game. Anyway, it should work. Well, so Lava Cake, before we started this game, I went through a big list of game ideas that I had and tried to figure out which one we should tackle. And that's what led to Idle Ascendance, which was the predecessor of Skeleseller. This was Skeleseller without the selling. It was just Skella. So I did not know the game idea when we were pursuing this game, but now I know it for the next one. In fact, it is just truly Skella if you play as a Necromancer. But yeah, this was the prototype for Skeleseller. Like I said, it was just the battling. You eventually automated this. A lot of people have seen this. Well, I don't think it was very fun. That's why we added the selling aspect. All right, I think we've done everything, right? Yeah, I gotta say, AI saved me a bunch of time with this. Just because I asked a question of how do I even do this? I thought I'd unpack the BCK file. I didn't realize it could just load translations. Okay, so we're done with that. Go through this document and print a bunch of things out. Close out GitHub's issues on GitHub. Yep. Yeah, I don't think we're going to do this stuff. I still want to put the soundtrack on YouTube. I haven't done that yet. New game revealed, Idle Ascendance. No way. No way. I think you could make that game fun. And I think what you'd have to do is you'd have to like really lean into the battling mechanics. And I think you run the risk of it just becoming another idle game. I feel like there are too many idle games on the market that do something like this, where it's like, oh, you're just watching people battle. So what would you do differently here? And yeah, I don't know what that would be. What was the localization website you use? I use Weblate. Okay, is this worth doing? I'll put it under the marketing thing. I want to file these notes later. Okay, so I would like to get rid of everything on this list at this point. So let's get started on that, I suppose. Put the OST on YouTube. This is something I'm not going to do while I'm streaming, but I would like to do this. No one has already done this, right? I'd be bummed if someone did steal my soundtrack and put it online. No, yeah, I don't think anyone even wants to do this though. Oh, hey, there's the person who did the video in Japanese. Yeah. Even if they are just another idle game without extra stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I never want to make a game that's just like a copy of another person's game unless it was specifically that I set out to do that as kind of an homage to the original game. Like I said, there are some games that I really, really liked, like Magic Carpet 2, that I don't think have been remade since then. And I think that'd be neat to do. But otherwise, like I wanna put my own flair on this. I was actually thinking about this as I was watching Project Hail Mary last night. That the author made The Martian and The Martin and Project Hail Mary. And they're kind of similar, at least in tone. They're both sci-fi. They both involve space. I mean, there's more similarities. I'm not going to like break this down or give spoilers or anything. And I think some people have a certain story they want to tell, and they will just like kind of keep trying to tell that story. So what's his name? Dan Harmon, I think, the guy who created Community and Rick and Morty. He has something in his head about like heist movies. And there's a plot in each of these shows. He just like focuses on heist movies and how I think he thinks they're stupid or something. I don't know. And like that's one of his stories that he wants to tell. I'd been focusing on automated games for the longest time, and I did some kind of incarnation of Botland for a very long time. And then Skeleseller itself is also kind of an automated game. The next game will not be that. And I don't know how much justice I can do to the idea that I have in my head. Yeah, we'll work on that. Hey, Kaizen Lab. You will totally still have some pooling issues in the next game, probably, but not as severe. Funny because Skeleseller and our product share some of the same problems of being in completely different spaces. Yeah. I think the specific pooling problems I was talking about though is that in Skeleseller you can close a window that contains a whole bunch of other objects at any given time, which then makes it difficult. What am I doing? I can't understand any of this. I mean, I know where the buttons are, so I can still click this, but yeah. There's a guy who keeps making Doomsday movies. I'm not sure. Yeah. So the issue in Skeleseller is we've got all this floating text inside of a battle window. And at any time the player can click the X, which then deletes the text. So that would have to remove it from the pool, or we'd have to pool the battle windows too. Otherwise, we could just use a regular pool, I guess. Planning on doing some just for fun game jams as a palate cleanser? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we'll kind of get that experience a little bit because I would not want to make the next game without prototyping it first. I want to see if the game's going to be fun. I also want to try some more AI focused stuff and just see where that goes. So yeah, I think the prototype is a good time to test both of these things out. The game idea, whether AI is a good idea. Yeah. All right, so make sure I'm doing something with this festival sheet. Yeah, I'll put this in the marketing thing. I'm not going to make a mobile game. Botland was also a mobile game. I don't think it's a space I want to work in. At least not directly. AI focuses in, as in actually using like AI agents at some point. The AI I've been using for pretty much all of Skeleseller has been I type like if, and I've got something in mind, and like if this is what I want, I'll press tab and I'll use it. But otherwise, it's like I just write almost all the code myself. But for the next one, I'll probably like use this view and type something like make a new thing to do X and Y and yeah, blah blah blah. I'm gonna stick with Godot, yeah, and C#. Have you shared a bit on Skeleseller sales? Excuse me. I bought a copy, but I'm yet to play it. Only that command that I have here. That I don't plan on looking at the sales figures again. So yeah, this is kind of a problem. No one's actually complained about this, by the way. Which I'm sort of surprised about. You're gonna factor in things earlier in the development, like controller support, Steam Deck, etc. So the next game is probably going to be a controller-based game that happens to have keyboard controls, rather than a keyboard-based game that happens to have controller controls. So it's going to kind of be flipped. So in that sense, it'll just naturally target the Steam Deck and naturally work with controllers. But then that makes keyboard the second class citizen, and I don't know what we're going to do for that. I also have to, Okay, let's go file an issue on this. So scrollable dialogues can't be closed while moving the left stick. Okay, so you can't close a scrollable dialog with the left stick. This means in the game settings menu can't be opened and closed by pressing B while holding the stick. Yeah. Surprisingly, no one has talked about this, so maybe it's not a big deal. Yeah. Might hinder LLM's ability to retrieve info. I don't know. We're going to have to test it out. I think my biggest thing that I would want to figure out is how would I have confidence in what an AI is doing if I don't have tests? And game code, you can roughly split into two things, or like, yeah, I guess game code. You can split it into Godot specific code and just sort of library code. The Godot specific code requires Godot to be running to some extent. So let's say you want to make sure that pressing the jump button makes your character jump. Pretty basic thing in a game. You'd need Godot to be running for that to like make sure the sprite is moving or something. And is it worth writing a test for that? Would the AI be good at writing tests for that? What kind of test harness would I even have? So I think that'll be a lot of learning. Next game is a mix of genres. Let me put it that way. There will probably be jumping in the game. I want to look into some of the perf issues. Yeah, this stuff I'll just copy paste. I don't think there's anything super important here. Remaining perf issues / investigations. I'm just copy pasting this from my to-do list since I think the performance is actually in a good spot. I don't know how much of this would even be relevant in the future. Did that even copy correctly? Whoops. I don't think so. What? Did I not copy as markdown? Maybe I didn't. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. Hey, Akasha. Welcome in. There are 2 speedrunners of Skeleseller now. Who's the second? Was that comment about you cheating in leak code? I don't know. Matt shared it, right? No, Unknown shared it. You can watch the video if you want. The to-do list is available to everyone. You can just go to today.adamlearns.com or click the link in chat. So I haven't watched this video yet. I plan on watching it, I don't know, tomorrow or whenever I have time. But I think it's just a joke. So I'm not going to do this. This is one of those things that I probably would have deleted even before. Bug with updating viewport size when physics ticks are set to 2 per second. This doesn't make sense how physics got involved in the process at all. It probably wasn't. It's probably just a race condition. I don't know. I'll just delete this. And then all of this stuff too. Did it copy the date? It did. Okay. Just create the timer once. Yeah, I'll copy this as well. Ooh-wee. Yeah, I don't think we're in bad shape with performance or anything. New person in Discord's competing on the first bone mode scenario. It's funny to compete on the first one. I feel like it's the least interesting one. My words per minute has gone to words per hour with this new keyboard. Yep, that's pretty normal at first. What engine do you use? It's a custom engine or a regular one? I'm using Godot, and I'll probably still use Godot for the next game too. Hopefully that works. Yeah, there we go. All right, need to look through my personal to-do list for Skeleseller items that I've been collecting. Yeah, I guess. I'm smiling at this. Add idle ascend this music. I like this music that I made. Man. All right. Yeah, I should probably add that. Thanks, Soma. Skelevator music. Actually, that's pretty true. It does kind of feel like darker elevator music, huh? All right, I'll write this over here too. Clean personal to-do list of Skeleseller items. Upload OST. It's free content. Make sure it's in a public playlist and links to Steam. Yeah, I'll just copy paste all this stuff. There. I kind of like this idea too. I don't know if people saw this because it's a negative color, but here's the real image. Well, all right, that's good enough. Which is that I can embed Fruity Loop Studio just via the video editor inside of what looks like a battle window in the game. I think that'd be pretty neat. And that way you'd have a visualization of both things. Well, this wouldn't really be hacking. It's just video editing. To put FL Studio into Godot would probably be very difficult. I don't even know what we do. We need some way to capture another screen and then put it into a dynamic texture in Godot. All right, so that's all done. What about this? After watching the French guy play the game, I realized we probably should have item sales with this. I just changed this with the... Oh, wait a second. Is this a problem in the outro? I never tested that. Whoopsie doodle. Okay, let's change to French. And let's see what happens in the outro of the game. Save, load, outro. It's for the section where they tip. You know what? How about this? I'll just do this. I'll load again. I'll speed it up because I don't want to watch the whole thing. There we go. All right. So what happens when they tip? Do you see a $sign appear? Here it comes there. Cool. Yeah, we do have it. Nice. Okay. Then that just automatically works. All right, cool. For German, the new run screen for bone mode requires vertical scrolling. French has this issue as well. Is it bad? I think this is happening because of the Japanese text that we had, but I'm not positive. Let me make sure that's not a problem for real. Okay, good. It's not a problem for real. The scrolling is pretty minor. I'm not super concerned about that. Yeah. Pick up marketing. And I already have this on the list, don't I? Yeah, I do. All right, so obvious you finished the game dialogue. No, I think it's fine. Key binding menu improvements. Okay. Let's add this over here. Key binding issues. I had these written on my to-do list. I'm just going to copy paste them here. Copy markdown. What's your opinion on modding? I mean, I have opinions on it from a bunch of different views. As a creator, as a modder, and as a consumer. I think for consumer, it's straight up good to have. Like, there's no real downside. People can use mods. They can choose not to use mods. As a modder, I think it's really, really good for getting into game dev in kind of a very constrained way. For example, I think this is part of the reason why Roblox took off as much as it did. Your average, like, 13-year-old isn't going to write their own entire game platform, make sure it's online all the time, et cetera, et cetera. But in Roblox, they can just write their own game. And now, look, they get multiplayer, they get skins and customization, sound effect, whatever else they need. As a creator, I think it depends. So it's a ton of work to add proper modding support. Like a ton of work. And I think it can help your game, but not everyone will use mods. And it could potentially hurt your game if people write mods that you eventually were planning on adding into the game itself, maybe as DLC or something, and people are like, well, why would I buy the DLC if I just got it as a mod for free? So I think this is the most important thing, though. This stands out above everything else. Like, it's not like, oh, well, I'll just add modding support in a weekend or something. It's usually much harder than that. The other thing is maintaining it, right? You release an update and now you break like 10 popular mods. People get upset and they equate the mods with your game, so it could potentially hurt your reputation for that too. All right, there we go. I never thought I'd see this in my life. The backlog has nothing in it now. All right, so links. Let's link to Skeleseller on Steam here. Let me just do it this way. I mean, all we did is move it to another website. So we didn't really get rid of the backlog, but yeah. AKA Minecraft every single update. Yeah, probably. Freedom. I mean, not really freedom yet. We still have a bunch of other stuff to do. Hope you're doing well. I've been watching the release, and I know it's not a race or anything. But you beat this game? What is this game? Oh, this is not like... Oh, I can't show this on screen. Let me take a look off screen. Mixed reviews. I mean, beat... It's hard to say I beat any game, and I know that you said it's not really the point, but this has 517 reviews and cost $23. So generally, you multiply the number of views by about like a factor of 40 or 50. So let's say 45 times 23, and you get that's how much money they made. Now, granted, I don't know how big their studio is or something, and this is gross income, and that's me estimating it anyway. And mixed reviews probably mean that the refund rate is higher, blah, blah, blah. But they probably made more sales. Wait, so you're done with Skeleseller now? I wouldn't say done. I think the things that are still on my radar at this point are Russian, Japanese, and Chinese translations. and any like big enough bug fixes. And what else? I don't know. That's and some marketing stuff. Oh, in terms of Steam DB, you've got better numbers. Okay. So yeah, but otherwise, yeah, it's pretty much it. I mean, this is what I meant by wrapping up here. Like, I shared this on stream yesterday. I actually wrote this yesterday, but the whole thing about like what does it mean to wrap this up? What do I plan on doing, etc. Like, the succinct summary of this is, I made a complete game. There were no major complaints about performance, bugs, etc., except for some crashes, which I like worked around by exposing another renderer yesterday. And I had no other plans. How long did it take to make the game? It took 2 years of full-time work and a team of people. Are you satisfied with the result? Hype for the next game? So I kind of talked about satisfied with the results in a couple of different ways. I think of success as having many facets, and one of the facets is just completion. No one can argue, like, did I complete the game? I completed the game. Huge success from that perspective. From just a sort of like, I don't know, accomplishing my vision. Because you can complete a game and not accomplish your vision. But like, this was definitely the right vision. This is, everything kind of came together. Monetary success is kind of a question mark right now. I intentionally have not been looking at sales, so I don't know how it did from that front. So I don't know. And yeah, about hype for the next game. Yes, definitely. We had to put a realistic number on, say, how much time you spent building and money spent on art. What you're hoping to make? What are you looking at pay wise? I'm not totally sure I understand. You had to put a realistic number to say how much time you spent building and money spent on art. And you said what you are hoping to make, maybe what you were hoping to make, or are you talking about the next game? I think you're talking about the current game. Anyway, how much time I spent building is 2 years, like I said, full-time work. And I have all the VODs online. Like, you can just scroll through these and see how many hours went into this. 550 videos. The average length is probably 3 hours. So, I mean, this is just stream time. This is not the entirety of the work I did. There was a lot of work off stream. There's a lot of work that wasn't just development. Some of these VODs are actually 8 hours long. So yeah, like the time spent building was that. Money spent on art is a little bit difficult because the upfront budget of Skeleseller was $500. And we were under that at the end. But that's because a lot of the pay was based on revenue of the game. So, like, yeah, it was practically free to make, which is like doing a lot of heavy lifting on the practically part, but it wasn't actually free to make. And that's assuming I value my time at $0. And that's kind of why I kept talking about, everyone's already probably seen this in the stream who's been here before, but if you sell a game at $10, so sell on Steam for $10, you get $7 from Valve because they take a 30% cut. Then there are taxes and whatever else. So really you're getting probably closer to $5 per sale of the game. So now if I spent 2 years and you consider what minimum wage is, and let's just say it was $10 per hour, which is kind of crazy, right? That means that it's probably $20,000 a year because you work about 2,000 hours a year. So you need 4,000 sales per year that you spent working on the game. Now, these are made up numbers mostly because, you know, going from 7 to 5 is based on your personal tax rate. The only thing that's not made up is going from 10 to 7. That's actually just, yeah, Valve's cut is 30%. And minimum wage is made up here too, but it's like you need thousands and thousands of sales to just make your development time worth it. Nothing else. So from that point of view, we probably won't actually like break even on Skeleseller. And yeah, I don't know. There's another reason why I think it's worth wrapping up. It's not the only reason. It's not like I only thought about this in terms of pay, but like I don't want to spend another year making a game when I'm not having fun and I'm not getting paid for it. And there's no guarantee that people are like, oh man, new Skeleseller update. I should share this with all my friends or something. So yeah. How much time did you work each day on the game, including non-stream time? It probably worked out to an average of about like, I don't know, 35 hours per week, or maybe like 35 to 40, maybe something like that. It's hard to say exactly because streaming takes a lot out of me. And there's a lot of work that doesn't kind of really feel like work. In fact, it probably worked out to be more than this now that I think about it, but I don't know. It's hard to estimate. It was probably like a normal full-time job. Boy, was it fun and enjoyable to build. Yeah. Hey, Kevin. Went back and started from the beginning on the VODs. Yeah. Yeah, so what am I looking at pay-wise? Like I said, I haven't really looked at the sales of the game since the first day, so I can't say what I'm looking at pay-wise, but yeah, I just want to learn lessons from both Botland and this about how I made a game, how I want to like position that game, how I want to market it, how to work on it, how to make sure it's successful. Close out issues on GitHub. I don't know if it's even worth closing out issues on GitHub. This is fixed, right? I think Kevin fixed this. Yeah. This was fixed in this commit. I don't know why I didn't... Oh, I said fixes. Why is it open then? Commit doesn't belong to any branch. What? Okay, what? That's not good. That's really not good. Hang on, I have a controller here. Let me test this really fast. This is potentially... this potentially means I never merged a branch. Where's this cable going? Did I delete the branch? It should still show up in main though, right? I don't know what happened here. Let me try this out. Because I have the controller plugged in. Yeah, good. Okay, so now I just need to open up the settings and click this and click this. It's working. So, okay, the code made it in. I just don't know how the code made it in. So let's go find out where that commit is. Because, yeah, I don't know how this is possible. We changed this here, virtual cursor. So let's go look at that. Virtual cursor. And it was what, line 179? Yeah, the change is right there, so we'll just blame this. I don't know. It's here. Fixes, what was the number of that issue? 1295? 1295. Huh, strange. Did I ever write this? I didn't write it down? I'm so confused by this. Let me just copy paste all of this stuff. Okay, there's quite a lot in there. Mouse, cursor, virtual controller. Okay, weirdly enough, this is in here, but I don't know what commit it came from. Yeah. Oh, maybe I did it as part of some other thing. All right, I could just look at the commits. All right, yeah. Fix it twice. Easy, twice as productive. Hey, Moldy Cricket. It's so unlike me not to put that in the title of the commit. No, we should be able to find it here anyway at some point. Interest starting state, reset physics, fix horrendous bug. What was this? Oh, I remember that. Anything about controllers here? Maybe this one? Let's just change the project. I don't understand where I added it. Oh, here it is. What? Hold on a second. What was the name of this? I don't know where that even went. Update. Yeah, that right there. Update a comment to reflect prior commit. This changed this? Oh, man. Okay, I must have done something wrong here. This was really just supposed to be a comment update. I probably accidentally checked this in at the same time and didn't realize it. That's my guess. That sounds like me. Okay, well, that answers that question. So yeah, this got fixed. I just didn't write the commit that I fixed it in. All right, let's link it over here. Where'd that go? Here it is. Okay, so this was fixed in here. I think I accidentally committed it alongside a comment change, since I see a reference to this issue from a commit that no longer exists. Accidentally amended a commit. Yeah, who knows? What's next? Another game? Yeah, another game is, well, I mean, it's not immediately next, just to be clear. The next thing that we're going to do, and probably we're going to start it this afternoon. It's like 10 a.m. right now. But probably starting this afternoon is going to be a bunch of like normal backlog tasks. So as an example, and like I said, we'll probably talk about this afternoon, but one of the things I wanted to do is make a video on lessons learned across all of Skeleseller. This is not really a Skeleseller task. Yes, it came from Skeleseller. Yes, it's going to talk about it quite a lot, but it's not to advance Skeleseller. It's just to share the lessons. And I love making these videos because every time I've done this, it speaks directly to me. Like, these are lessons I learned that I'm eventually going to forget about, that I'll have in my notes, but that I won't go back and look at necessarily, but I will watch those videos sometimes. And the last time I did something like this, well, maybe not the last time, but one of the times, is the postmortem that I wrote. Like, this is everything that I learned from making Botland. And I think this was great. I also made a blog post somewhere about, yeah, top learnings from my own startup. So I'll just link these into chat if anyone wants to read them. They're not super important. But yeah, I want to do another, like, a video for Skeleseller. So this is the kind of task I want to go through. I also want to set up Rider. I want to go through this list of stuff here, non-game dev tasks. Maybe we can close out of this too. I just want to get to like as close to a clean slate as we can for the next game. Yeah, we need to stop streaming to Steam as well at some point. I wonder if I can just turn that off right now. I probably shouldn't do that. Attention. Stop streaming to Steam during lunchtime. Yeah. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty well. I'm feeling good. I was not feeling good the last week or so. I think launch took a lot out of me. I was just very fixated on Skeleseller. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. I don't think it was very healthy. I think launch is just very difficult. There's also always been the question, and this will be a struggle that I'll probably have the rest of my life, but like, how do you know a game is ready to be tested or launched? Like, let's say you're working on a prototype. Prototype, almost by definition, is never going to be your full product. Like, you just can't have all the features. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a prototype, right? So it's like, you've got to test the prototype. And ideally, you're testing it with real players. But how do you let them know that this is just representative of the full game? It's not actually the full game, that it's missing a ton of features. I think that's easy enough to probably get across to people. It's a harder... it's very fuzzy when you're maybe like 30% complete with the game or 70% complete with the game. When you're at these like not quite done, but not quite just started, and you've got to tell players like, oh yeah, that stuff's gonna be fixed or not. Because what I found with this is, let's say you're 70% done with something, people fill in the gaps for the remaining 30%. So like, let's say I had, I don't know, 5 levels in Skeleseller. And I say, oh, hey, just so you know, the game is 70% complete. Someone might be like, oh, well, that means that all the time is going to go into this. And there's going to be 500 levels in Skeleseller by the end of it. And it's like, no, that was never the plan. And because you just said that there was 70% complete, people will be like, well, this must be happening, or this must be happening. What's kind of funny is that the feedback I got at like the 70% mark started varying drastically from the feedback at like the 90% mark or so. And I think that, I don't know how to say this exactly. People might have requested a feature earlier on that they would still want when it was later on, but then realize that it wouldn't happen just because it's later on in the project. So they'd stop requesting it and they'd be happy with what was given to them in the game. It's like, I saw that happening, and it's just kind of funny. Probably better to have a small group of people who know how to test games, not quite real people. I think you need real people, you need game testers, you need whatever else. To be honest, I feel like I got the least value from people who were just trying to test the game. The kind of value that I would get is from people who were just playing the game and would tell me if they had fun or not. I found that if people are purposely trying to test it, that it's like, well, I can test it. Like I usually knew about whatever issues they were talking about and they just weren't worth prioritizing for some reason. And it's like, what I want is just for people to just try the game, just see if it's fun. And yeah, every once in a while, I do want people to test things that I can't. Like, hey, is the French translation good? Yeah, that's something where I did need specific testers. I had someone run through in Portuguese. And yeah, they reported some really good issues that there's just no way I would have seen because I don't speak Portuguese. Reconfiguring the code styles and file layouts for the formatter and writer from scratch and give you my current editor config. I'm not totally sure what I want to do yet because I'm probably also going to take a pretty AI first approach, at least with the prototype. And I might just ask it to like just spit out an editor config for writer for me. So I want to see. Did you set the regional pricing? It's only 300 INR. Yeah, I got some complaints that it was pretty expensive in India, so I lowered it. And now I think I'm getting like a piddly amount of money from India, presumably. What does this work out to? Yeah, like $3. Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty cheap for a brand new game, at least according to me. I don't live in India. So is there anything else that's kind of on the list here? I think it's just this stuff. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I think we'll tackle some of that. $7 wasn't that high even. Yeah, yeah, there were some complaints. The other thing is I don't plan on localizing the Hindi, so I feel like if someone is going to buy it from India, they're going to have to play in English, which I mean, shouldn't be a huge problem, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why the reason I'm waffling right now is because I my stream title is still wrapping up Skeleseller, and I'm still streaming to Steam right now. But I think we're kind of done wrapping up. I didn't make any changes that I need to check in, did I? Oh, I did. Okay. Well, we're not totally done. Let me check this in. This got modified because of that. Okay, that's fine. This hopefully doesn't affect the exported version at all. Yeah, and then this should not have changed. What happened here? Did someone modify this? No. What? Why is this showing up? Oh, there it goes. Okay, never mind. Just because I had changes. I didn't realize that was the case. All right, well, this looks good. So add a way to test local or test translations at runtime. This is hidden behind the is debug flag, so it shouldn't affect players. Let's just double check that, because I don't really care if this thing is 100% broken as long as players can't see it at all. It's just meant for the Japanese translator, and I guess the Russian translator maybe. And if we get a Chinese translator, maybe them too. So this is if allow Japanese translation, return Japanese. Otherwise, we're not going to. That's fine. This is behind a debug flag, so none of this should matter. That's only this function's only called from that one, so that shouldn't matter. And then main calls them here, and we don't need system IO anymore. That's nice to have realized. Cool. Yeah, I think we're good. I'm not even publishing a new build anyway, so even if I had broken the game for everybody, we're not publishing a new build. Typical burnt out. Oh yeah, I didn't even realize. I just read typical and saw purple, and I'm like, I know who that is. So you're not feeling too good about your job, I'm guessing? What ideas do you have for the next game? I haven't shared it yet. And I think we're still probably like days away from talking about it. Maybe I'll start it next week. But this week we have plenty of stuff left to do. So yeah, I'm going to write some other things here. There are a lot of commands we need to update. Where is it? VODs, next game. I guess I could at some point look through this whole list. God, there's so many. Is it going to have a tutorial in it? Wink, wink. Oh, it will. And hey, Quickie Joe. Okay, so I think we're going to probably end this stream a little bit early because I know it's a weird time. It's not even lunchtime yet. But I kind of wrapped up the subject matter and I don't like kind of hijacking my own streams to do other stuff now. So what I'll probably do is I'll take a bit of a break. I will stop streaming to Steam. That's another weird thing. I wonder if you can... Actually, how does this work? Couldn't I just not stream to this page? What does that button do? Let me take a look really fast. No, that button does not do this. I don't know. Oh, I'll cut that out. Yeah, I'll be back in maybe a couple hours or something like that. And I'm going to do something totally different. So it will not be Skeleseller. I'll change the stream title. I'm probably going to just like plan videos, set up Rider, etc. Hey, Microdosing, thank you. So yeah, thanks all for watching. I'll go raid if Cakes is streaming. Cakes is not streaming, but I'll raid Lana then. Yeah. Gonna start with a prototype. No. So the prototype stuff, yes, we will do that eventually, but that'll probably be like next week. I think this week will just be wrapping up all the other stuff that I wanted to do. And I think it'll still be fun. It'll still be like tech oriented. It's just not going to be probably like specific to a game. So let me kick off this raid. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will catch you in a couple of hours. I don't think it'll be too long.